Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Jenkins is going to lead us in our invocation and pledge allegiance. All rise.
Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, O Lord, let your will be done, on earth as it is done in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debt as we forgive our debtors. Lead us, my Father, into no temptation, but deliver us from all things like sin and evil. This evening, our Heavenly Father, we come thanking you for another day. Father God, we thank you for covering us under your blood. Father God, we ask in your name that you cover each one of these commissions. Guide their mind that whatever we do would be good for Jasper County and the state of South Carolina. Father God, we ask you to cover Lisa and her staff, Jonathan, and all the people that are here tonight. These blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first thing on our agenda this afternoon is approval of the agenda for this evening.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Jenkins, second by Ms. Ferguson. All in favor of such motion, let it known by saying aye. And opposed by the same sign. It's carried. The next thing on the agenda, approval of the minutes from August 13, 2024.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Jenkins, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ferguson. Ready for questions?
I have a question. I wonder if we could ask that when the minutes are typed and a vote is taken and a commissioner makes a comment regarding their vote, if that could be included in the written minutes, because most people are never going to watch the entire board meeting, and if they think it's important enough to be given a comment, I'd just like to ask that it's usually going to be something short. And the reason I say that is I voted against something, and I made a point of saying why I voted against it, and I'd just like that to be documented in the written records.
Okay, previous question. All in favor of such motion, let it known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposers by the same sign?
I do, because it doesn't reflect what I asked to be reflected in the minutes. Oh, don't confuse me. So we were voting on that one?
Yes.
I was confused. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, is that legal?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay, that's before I vote, that was just my concern.
Well, you understand what I'm asking.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's not, I don't think it would be a big imposition just to have maybe a single sentence.
Okay.
Because a lot of people will read the written minutes that won't watch the entire.
I think it just helps
Yeah.
tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just my concern that when other people read it, I don't know if that would be a flashback on us when people find out we vote against stuff, not for stuff. So, okay, that's fine with me.
Well, you mean you shouldn't be singled out?
Yeah, that's my concern.
If you want to be identified.
Well, you don't have to say anything.
Oh,
It's only when you choose to make a comment
Yeah.
that I think it should be reflected in this particular place.
yeah, without your name,
Hmm?
without your name, because
Yeah,
most
I
time,
I said it in an open meeting, so
Okay.
I wanted it to be public, and I wanted it to
Okay.
be a part of the public record.
all right, that's my own concern, that we understand that when you put your name out there on something, there might be some
Oh, yeah, I don't
repercussion.
have-
Okay, you don't have a problem.
I don't have a problem with
Okay.
that, and if anybody does, they don't have to say anything.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry,
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
I've totally messed up the rotation here.
The next thing on the agenda is new business. Item A, expansion of legal non-conforming use of 436 Chancellor Road. Ms. Wagner, would you bring us up to date on this?
Yes, sir.
The applicant, Congrove Enterprises LLC, has submitted a request to build an additional building on their site for the purpose of storing equipment. The subject property is located at 436 Chancellor Road and consists of 20.56 acres. The property was originally developed in 2005 and was home to Cleveland Construction. The property was legally permitted by Jasper County and South Carolina Department of Environmental Services, formerly DHEC, and is considered a legal non-conforming use. The property is zoned community commercial and is accessed by both Chancellor Road and Low Country Drive. The property is surrounded on 3 sides by the Oakwood landfill. The applicant proposes to build a 6,097 square foot equipment shed. During the 2007 countywide rezoning, this site was made non-conforming. The nonconformity section of the Jasper County zoning ordinance allows for the expansion of alterations for the use which do not otherwise conform to all provisions of this ordinance, subject to Planning Commission review and approval. The purpose of this ordinance is to address certain but not all nonconformities created through the 2007 countywide zoning project. Numerous structures and uses were lawfully established prior to the rezoning project, which became non-conforming as a result. Some are major employers, and significant investment into construction totaled in the millions of dollars. Other business expansions may also be limited by legal nonconformity status or the economic use of valuable structures, which may be prevented if not considered by the Planning Commission. The applicant has requested to add an equipment shed to the subject property, expanding the footprint. Arbor Nature operates a wood chipping facility and a laydown yard. The site is currently developed with 2 modular office units and a maintenance shed. The business operations itself will not be expanded and the use will not change. The equipment shed is intended for storing equipment and will minimize outdoor storage. Their business hours are from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and they have 50 employees. According to Jasper County Zoning Ordinance, Article 9:3.7, number 2, states any modifications to a non-conforming use, including a change in use, the reestablishment of a non-conforming use, or any expansions or alterations to the use which do not otherwise conform to all provisions of this ordinance shall require approval by the Planning Commission. In determining whether a non-conforming use, change, reestablishment, or expansion of the non-conforming use is appropriate, the Planning Commission may consider the following standards. That the proposed non-conforming use will be harmonious with the surrounding area. In this case, the property was developed as an industrial site and has been used as industrial since 2005. The equipment shed will not alter the surrounding area. In fact, it would help minimize outdoor storage areas. The proposed non-conforming use will be a desirable addition to the physical pattern of the neighborhood. In this case, the equipment shed will help to organize the property, enhancing the value and the aesthetics of the property. Number 3 is any additional traffic resulting from the proposed non-conforming use will not be a burden on existing streets. In this case, the equipment shed will not create any additional traffic, as the shed is intended to provide storage only. Number 4 is no adverse environmental impacts, including noise, smoke, dust, fumes, vapors, gases, heat, odor, glare, vibration, etc., will be created by the proposed non-conforming use. In this case, no change in use is proposed, so no additional impact will be created. The outdoor storage or activities are limited and subject to review and may require increased setback and buffers. No new outdoor storage or activities are proposed other than how the site's being used now. The equipment shed, again, will help to organize the yard and minimize current outdoor storage areas. And number 6 is the proposed use is considered to be a benefit to the community and Jasper County as a whole by implementing goals of the Jasper County Comprehensive Plan. The economy chapter goal of the comprehensive plan states develop businesses and attract public and private investment to grow jobs, decrease unemployment, and strengthen the local economy. While this is a business opportunity, the comprehensive plan does not specifically speak to this situation from an economic perspective. However, the equipment shed will add value to the property as well as Jasper County tax base. Notices were sent out to the property owners last week ahead of this meeting, and a sign was posted on the property with the public hearing notice, basically advertising tonight's meeting. And we didn't receive any comments, but I do see one of the neighbors is here, Ms. Frazier, and also Mr. Shedd is here with Arbor Nature. So in this case, staff does recommend approval to allow an equipment shed to be built at 436 Chancellor Road. And along with the staff report, you had the non-conforming use expansion that was submitted as far as the application, which I think all of this is included basically in the staff report. And we also gave you the standards from Article 9:3 about the non-conforming uses and structures in accordance with our zoning ordinance and an aerial map. And I could also bring it up on the GIS if you want to see it. Maybe you have questions for me or questions for the applicant or want to hear from the neighbor.
Yeah, let's come up and give us this.
Hello, thank you for hearing me out today. So basically, we're just trying to build a shed on our property. We already have a shed on the property that was built by Cleveland Side Prep when they owned it, but we took it over a couple years ago, and we're just trying to build another shed to keep all of our equipment inside, because right now it's all sitting outside, getting sun damage, a lot of the equipment's dirty, and then a lot of like the attachments to different things like the chipper on our property or the excavator that's there. We have to leave all that outside, so it's all just getting kind of destroyed by the weather, and then it just doesn't look appealing when we have other people come in. So we're just trying to tidy up our space and make sure that it's more presentable and that our equipment that we spend all this money on isn't just getting damaged or trashed more than it needs to be.
Okay, Mr. Lee, you have any question for us?
No, sir.
Bucky?
Could we see the, oh, you are pulling it up. Okay, I have, will we get to hear from the person that lives in that community before?
Most definitely.
Okay. Lisa, why is this non-conforming?
Ma'am?
Why is this lot non-conforming?
It's an industrial use. It was legally permitted in the earlier part of 2000 prior to this zoning ordinance. So when we did the whole countywide rezoning in November 2007, we put community commercial zoning here, and it's not an allowed use within that district. The use has not changed over the years, although the business owner did, the use has been the same. So it's considered a legal non-conforming.
So this kind of business would not be permitted in
In a-
community commercial now.
That's right.
Excuse me, is this going to be a closed building?
Yes, ma'am.
It will, so it'll have sides on it?
Yes,
so
it'll
you
have
put
sides
things
and
in.
a door. Yes.
How close is it going, what's the setback going to be from the nearest property owner for this building?
It's gonna be more than what's required. I mean, what's required in community commercial is for non-residential, I'm pretty sure it's, I wanna say it's 10 feet, but it might be 5, we're gonna check real quick. But I would just point out real quickly too, that they provided a part of that plan that they provided where they wanna place it,
Right,
which,
I saw that,
yeah.
but I
So,
couldn't tell.
that's closer to the landfill side, because that joins the landfill over there.
Can we go back to the map and, I want to see how, so where this is located, 08300030045, that's
Right here.
right there?
So where they're showing the shed would be over in this area here.
Okay, and who are the surrounding property owners?
So they take this road in here and you have these, properties right here. And you have these properties. These aren't affected as much just because they say it's Wexford Place, but these are the property owners that probably, are affected the most. And Ms. Frazier lives in one of these
Well,
properties.
by this shed? These properties are gonna be impacted by this shed?
Well, no, there's this other property that's in between them and this one, so the shed's gonna be way over here.
Right.
It's gonna be by this is the landfill over here.
So they're surrounded on three sides by landfill?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, that's it. I just wanted to understand better and, okay,
Ms. Ferguson?
thank you.
I'd like to hear from,
Yeah, okay. Mr. Jenkins?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Lisa says, submitted for action, approval with conditions. You said submitted for action, but approval with conditions? Am I looking at the right one? 08300030045?
it's in your heading,
It's in the where?
the heading.
Staff
To
report?
recommend approval with conditions.
I'm sorry, that was probably on the previous staff report, and I meant to go back and change that. I never like to fill that line in too much.
Yeah, because that's the first thing I noticed. What's the condition? It's approval with conditions.
On the front page of the staff
Oh, okay,
report.
because it's not on the back.
No, I didn't mean, I think I meant to go back. I always skip this line and I'll go write the report, then I'll go
Oh,
back and I.
Yeah, yeah, when I read that, I saw that I was just wondering what conditions.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's all,
Right, Mr. Jenkins.
Yes,
I
yeah.
didn't see it.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was my only question.
Okay, Ms. Frazier?
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Priscilla
evening.
Frazier. I'm not here to complain about his shed, because I don't have a problem with the shed. We do have some issues of their trucks coming up side the road, because it's like the road here and my house is here. And we get all the dust and we get all the noise. And I heard to say the time was from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. We hear trucks, I don't know if it's coming from his business or who business this is, but it's 6 o'clock in the morning. So I don't know what businesses it's coming from. It's his business there and there's others, but I don't know. The noise that we are hearing 6 o'clock in the morning is a problem. Now, I just talked with him briefly a few minutes ago, and I just asked him, and maybe I can talk with them and see whether they are willing to put up a fence between their road and my house, so that we don't get all the dust or maybe all the noise, because we get constant trucks all day long. And I mean, they're not just small trucks, they are 18-wheeler trucks sometimes, dump trucks, it's all that. So, and the dust off that road is just, it comes right to my house. So that's the complaint we have, but as far as the shed, I don't have a problem with them putting a shed for their equipment.
Ms. Frazier lives right here, and, this is your name.
And my mom, it's my mom's house and my house,
In those two lots,
yes.
are any of those other, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Are any of those other lots occupied? Are there residences on either side of the road?
There's lots, houses on the opposite side of me, like the road for them to use. My house is on one side of that road, and there's a couple of trailers on the opposite side of that.
What about who's here? This says.
That's at the beginning of my road, so the person that was there, he had a trucking or dump truck business, and I don't know, we don't know what happened to him. And he's trying to sell his equipment, but he hadn't, and
Is he living there?
nobody lives there. There's never been a
That was
house.
vacant. That's right, it was vacant. We went out there posting the signs for the U-Haul Rock River. So it is these two, and I would say it's probably these two that, are most impacted. And the reason I say that, looking at this map, you can see these properties here, but in order to get to these properties, you have to go down and come up here, and there are some woods. So there's kind of like this area of woods that's a buffer for these properties on this road. But, these are the two that get directly.
Ms. Frazier, you really think a fence is gonna keep dust down?
If they build it high enough.
You want
If-
something,
I mean,
eh?
Is there any
Something.
way to put a buffer of some kind of natural buffer there? Do
I
you
mean,
have- don't know,
it's
but-
their property. I mean, I don't have that much property. From the road, it's like maybe, they got about maybe 25 feet from their road to my property, that's theirs. I mean, it could be a nature buffer or something there, but it'd have to be longer because my mom and I get all the dust.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I can.
And there is somewhat of a screening, a natural screening, not saying it couldn't be screened more, but there is some. And, I don't know what's the best option, whether
Yeah, I
it's
don't either.
more vegetation or fencing, I'm not sure.
I have a question. Since she spoke, that's okay.
Yes.
My concern, Lisa, what is there now? I meant, what kind of business is there now?
It's, Arbor Nature, this is, and are y'all the same as Commonwealth Enterprise, or that's?
That's who that's our owner, but he owns our nature,
Yeah, I just asked the question because I am concerned why they need such big trucks.
Well, Cleveland still comes in there and brings material that goes in the chipper, and it's the nature of their business. They have these trucks. This materials come in that can be chipped. It's maybe you can answer that or not.
So, Cleveland, we rent out part of the property to them. They were the original owners of the property, and they had the chipping site. So the DHEC chipping permit wasn't their name for the chipping site. So all the trees that are cut on Hilton Head, not all of them, but so the ones that are cut on Hilton Head, we have a chipping site on Hilton Head, then we got the chipping site here in Ridgeland. So the ones that are in Bluffton and Ridgeland will usually come here to be chipped, and then they're hauled away on semi-trucks. So a lot of that is Cleveland bringing in wood debris, us bringing in wood debris, and then we have lots of trucks coming in and out to haul it away.
Oh, because I remember about 3 or 4 months ago, you remember my concern about trucks coming in and out of there, and you remember I said about, and I didn't know what they were going back there for, but I do see some big trucks. Because about 3 or 4 months ago, I remember asking Lisa what were they doing back there, because I see those big trucks keep going, and sometimes they had a couple of accidents there because they don't stop at that stop sign. And I saw the sign is laid down, the stop sign is not even up, but yeah, on 462, and I asked the question, why was all those big trucks going back in that woods? But there is some, she's right, there is some huge trucks going back, because I saw it myself, and I remember asking one night, what were they doing back there, because I saw all these big trucks going back there. So, well, now I know.
Well,
Yes.
since this request is for the building and not for the situation that Ms. Frazier is talking about, can we make that a condition?
You certainly could. That particular ordinance gives you, if you feel like there's something that needs to be addressed for safety, you could. And
you know, I'm just gonna say, just my personal opinion, not that it matters to anyone, I think it would be nice if they could work it out.
Yeah.
You know, yes.
But what I'm saying is that it needs to be something that's documented and making sure that it's gonna
That
be
it's
done.
done.
Because I remember, another situation where we requested a fence, but we weren't specific about the type of fence. It should have been a privacy fence, and we got a chicken wire fence, which
Yeah.
didn't do much at all.
And, you know, back to when I do think about this, and there is I would call it, I guess, a thin natural buffer, some trees and all that's between the road and the property. But you also only have so much room to plant, because she's got an access road, and on the other side, they have an access road. It almost does seem that maybe a higher fence would be what would fit in there better. I don't know how y'all feel about that, would y'all be willing to?
We're willing to work, but we don't wanna make our neighbors angry, you know, it's not.
Yeah, and I do think it's just these two properties, of course, I think you have to, you know, cover it a little bit before you get to her place and beyond, just because you know how this is, it flies up. So, that's just my thoughts.
Question, Ms. Wagner. This is in the Oberlin district that,
It is. So, they're not asking for a rezoning, you know, they did first contact.
but I mean,
us
but
about-
the development in this was supposed to cease until all this is taking place. And you asking us to improve a non-conformance. And my understanding of non-conformance is not to enhance it, is to do whatever you can to make it go away completely.
So that is the thought of a non-conformity, but we don't push them out because then.
Not push them out, not stop them from what they're doing. But the guidelines is not supposed to enhance it and give them more opportunity. And if it was non-conformance, how did he obtain a permit to do chipping when there wasn't a permit to do chipping under the non-conformance?
It's the same permit, it's never went away.
Now, he said that Cleveland didn't have a chipping permit. His words now.
I might have misspoke.
He said,
So Cleveland had the chipping permit, I believe it was 2002, 2003. And then I think it was 2007 is when they built the shed. But
I verified from DHEC, that permit's been in operation.
it's still active. We still get DHEC coming out to our property to come view it and make sure that we're up to standard.
And they had reached out to us a couple of months ago. We were going through the rezoning and, I mean, yeah, for the U-Haul area. And they asked about coming in and applying for rezoning. And I told them, you know, at this time, the moratorium's still in place. We're not gonna be able to give any recommendation. With everything that has went on, we felt this would be the better option, is to come do a nonconformity where it's reviewed on a case-by-case basis. The ordinance was amended many years ago, probably about 12 years ago, to allow exactly what they're here asking you tonight. Any type of expansion or a change of use even to a nonconformity, that ordinance is written so that it's reviewed on a case-by-case basis, depending on the site. It comes to you.
But right across the road, an application had already been made in progress for a zoning change to do a project, and they was halt, and that zoning designation is gonna be taken away from them. But tonight, it's coming before us to ask us to enhance a nonconformist in the same overlay district. I'm really baffled with that.
So I reviewed this with the Jasper County Attorney, the Jasper County Administrator before bringing this here. Matter of fact, they tried to get on the agenda last month, but I wanted to make sure that this is the appropriate way to handle this, and they agree. I mean, it falls under a nonconformity ordinance. It doesn't, they're not asking to develop a new site or.
I mean, it's almost the same. It's saying that allow an industrial use in a nonconformist community commercial. Commissioner, do y'all follow me?
I understand completely. I just feel that it's grandfathered in at this point. It was rezoned after they already were using it as industrial. That's like saying, hey, we're gonna have to tell you to shut your business down because we changed the rules on what we're allowing in this area. So if he's been there long enough, I mean, I can't see, and they got, they got a separate access road, not even the same road as them. If you look here, I mean, you can see some type of buffer. They're willing to help her with a fence. I don't think it's gonna help with any noise reduction. The dust is probably gonna blow right over it. It may slow it down some. I mean, we're here to approve the shed, and I respect where you're coming from, because you're trying, let's say don't improve this property and continue to build it up to make it more industrial if we're trying to create this, community, commercial community atmosphere there. I just don't see it, a shed's not really it's not gonna change what they're doing with the property currently. It's not gonna make it any more industrial at that point, I don't think.
But with all the equipment and stuff outside, how does that?
Well, I think, frankly, if there were neighbors and there aren't close by that could see this, I think that the enhancement would be something the neighbors would approve of. I think what you were saying is that we are not allowing any kind of change in the area that the moratorium covers. And I see this as different from the case that you were talking about, because we're not actually making any changes. We are just allowing this company to build a shed there, which to me is different from changing the zoning, or I don't see this
It's not a zoning change, but
right,
this property is zoned community commercial.
right.
And to build that shed, it would have to have been in industrial zoning. And they're asking us tonight to allow him to enhance from the use of community commercial to an industrial use in the same area. If you really study what non-conformance is, they allow you to continue operating as you is, but is the probability of that zoning going away at some point.
Yeah, I understand that, and I agree with that thinking.
Yeah, and we're not asking you to enhance the use at all. What we are asking is an additional 6,000 square foot footprint that doesn't exist today to be
My
able.
question to y'all is if a neighboring property was to submit the same form, asking to have a shed built on their property with the same size and orientation or whatnot, would we approve that for somebody else?
Well,
They
that's
couldn't
kind of
even, they couldn't even get an industrial zoning designation in that area.
So what would have to change for a shed to be put there in community commercial? I mean, is it the size?
Well, no, it's just the use is, so it doesn't have to be, it could be zone community commercial or even residential. You could have a shed, but it depends on how you're using the shed. If it's in residential and you're using it for residential, it's okay. If it's a use that's supported in community commercial, it wouldn't be here tonight. But in this case, it was it's a non-conforming use. The use exists, the use isn't going away. They're just asking to do this at a shed.
So when we put the new zoning ordinance in place, this didn't change?
This did not
It
change.
stayed exactly what it was?
Yes.
What would it change to if we changed the zoning that would allow that shed to be built?
We don't have any,
There's nothing that would allow this business in that location.
not new today. It can
Right.
stay and exist, and it would fall under what they're doing today is something allowed by the nonconformity ordinance that's
Because under the
applicable
new
to
ordinance that is proposed, that would be village community, and the density would be much lower. And that's what's all the way down that 462 quarter.
This falls under the village commercial?
That is the proposal for the rezoning, but it, like, they could operate today and they could keep industrial uses in village commercial.
So we have a nonconformity ordinance that allows the planning commission to review each site based on its individual application. And so that is the approach they're taking tonight. It doesn't change their zoning in any way, and it's not going to allow them to expand their use as far as the way the business operates. The approval they're seeking tonight is for 6,000 square foot shed. It doesn't change the use of anything that's
Right.
taking place there.
And for me, the overriding factor is 3 sides of this is surrounded by a landfill that's never going away, and, right?
That's right.
So. does
Well,
it-
we hope it does eventually, but who knows how long. There's a lot of
That's
life
true.
left in it.
Right. There's still a lot of life.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, short, you know, we failed this community when we put that dump there. Now we have a citizen coming to us and can't sleep for noise. Are those your truck going in at 6, or these are Cleveland trucks?
It could be a combination of both. I would assume both. Because if we start at 7, that's when our office opens, but the drivers have to get to a job site, so they would get in early, leave early. But
But
so that'd be in the morning.
I believe if I remember correctly, I think when y'all came before us, y'all told us our y'all operation would be from 9 to something. I don't think it was 6 and 7.
Right now, we're operating from 7 to 5.
Yeah, I remember when y'all came before us, it'd been 9 to 5. You never say it was 6, 7 o'clock. But see, that's another problem we have, Lisa, when these people come to us and tell us their hours of operation. I don't know how we can control that to make sure they adhere to that. But if I believe it was supposed to have been from 9 to 5, not from 6 till. I don't know if you can go back and find it, but I remember it wasn't supposed to have been from 6 or 7. It was supposed to have been from 9 to 5 or 7. But that's pretty early in the morning at 6 o'clock, where there are big trucks in and out of there and waking up people. I tell you, it's. I don't know how we hold these people to the fire and they tell us they're gonna do something from 9 to 5, and then once they leave here, they change it from 5 to 6 in the morning or 6 till 7 in the mornings. I don't know how we can control that.
I don't remember them ever being here before, so I can't speak.
I know it was somebody came before us. And then I was just concerned how that little narrow road, is that the real entrance from the highway into that place with that little
So,
narrow road?
That road is the best road in. The other one, if it rains at all, our trucks can't really get through it because it's so much worse than the other
But that weren't supposed to have been the original entrance, right?
This one back here was the original entrance.
That road?
Yes, that's where Cleveland had their old sign for.
Well, evidently that road weren't built the way it was supposed to have been built, because it's just a little narrow road going in there. You can't see nothing but bushes. That road, I don't know.
What
know.
is this, what is this road over here that comes off of Low Country Drive?
This one here, that is a newer road that, you know, it's been there for several years. I think that's the one he was saying that it's.
Yeah, when it rains, we can't. A lot of our trucks will get stuck in it trying to use that road when it rains.
I mean.
So
all of
we're
that-
able to use it some during the summer months, but if we've had, I don't know, a storm come through and it's rained for 8 days straight, it's a little bit harder to get through.
I mean, to me, the obvious solution would be to fix that road so your trucks can get in. It's a shorter road. It avoids all of these residences. And although I don't know what the zoning is on these 3 properties that surround that road.
Yeah,
They're all
that's.
saying the landfill is industrial. Well, the landfill is split zone, industrial, rural preservation, and back at their entrance off of Strobart, it's community commercial. We're not messing with that side. It's not gonna get rezoned, the landfill. We're just leaving it as it is.
So at least,
I mean, that particular landfill and the site that where he's at was one of the biggest objects brought zoning into existence, because we only had 2 zoning designations, and you could put things in rural or communities that shouldn't have been there to start with. So when the zoning came in place, things that was already there, they couldn't shut them down, but they made it non-conforming, legal non-conforming. And with a prayer that over time that it would come non-existent. But if we, I only got 1 vote, in my opinion, and all this talk about the overlay district. Now, I'm not a legal counsel, but my understanding from the meetings and what has been explained, there was a halt on all development in that overlay district until the moratorium has been lifted.
And the moratorium was lifted July 31st. Anybody can come in and submit an application for development. They will have to comply with the pending ordinance that's pending right now, even though we're still working on it. But but that's gonna be for new development or subdivide, and then in this case, they're not asking to do any of that. Again, they did ask to rezone a few months ago. We told them at that time the moratorium was in place, that we could not give any recommendation, would not give any recommendation. And again, we felt this was the better way to go about it than to even ask for a rezoning. That's from the county. And if they were asking to expand this use or to do anything different, we probably might not be able to support it. But in this case, you cannot see this site, and you either have to go down one of them roads and get there to be able to see it. You just can't see it from anywhere outside that property. And if you get in there, it is more industrial looking. It's you know, not the cleanest operation. So we felt that the shed would provide them with some way to make it look better. That's just telling you where the staff is on that.
So, Mr. Chairman, why can't you fix that road that would alleviate the problems that they're having if you fix that other road instead of using the road to 462?
I think the other road it doesn't look like the whole road is on our property, the one that gets washed out, or are you talking about the small road next to our home?
The one off Low Country Drive.
Yeah.
I don't think all of it's on our property, so I don't know how we would go about fixing it, if only, because it looks like only the end of it's on our property, whereas the other ones,
Is this your property as well? She's highlighted in red right here?
This here's the property
No,
back
just that one.
here.
Yeah, so yeah.
And I don't know who did this road. It says Stevens and Associates on the, can you identify it? But I don't know who that is.
Is this the road going off of, I think it's Strobart?
Yeah.
That road, is that, did somebody grant an easement for that road? How did that road get in there?
This is actually part of the property. They own that property. So that property sits way back here, but all of this is also literally a part of the real property. And it touches Strobart Road. So I guess when you look at this is a classic flat lot.
Ms. Frazier, how do you get to your house?
It's off of, it's being on point. My
Yeah,
road is
hers
Bighorn.
is
It's right
actually a
beside
different
it.
road. Yes, I'm gonna show you. We gotta zoom in. I know when we were looking at these maps and doing those signs, it was hard to tell because you have to zoom in. So she comes down Strobert Road,
Mhm.
goes down Baynard Point right here.
Okay.
So you can see this little buffer area I was talking about, these trees here. And this is their road, and this is her road right here. And this is her property, so the road ends right here at her property.
And behind her, or to the side of her, that's landfill property?
Well, it's just over here.
Oh, that's something else here.
That's another property owner
Yeah.
behind me.
That is,
It's,
we've never heard from them.
It's a Hispanic family.
So the interest off of 462 is really the real interest when the plan was drawn, that the road you were supposed to use, the one off of 462. Is that the original plan, that road that leads off of 462? It is that the original road?
Chancellor Road.
I meant when this project came before, that was the original road they were supposed to use.
Chancellor.
That road off of 462, that's the road they were supposed to.
No, that didn't exist.
But why,
It was Chancellor Road in the beginning.
the one they were supposed to use? So why are they using the one off of 462?
I don't know.
Okay.
One more comment before we can
All right.
wrap this up. Any use we allow to happen, there's a clause in there about the impact that it have on the lots that's adjacent to it. And she have explained that these big trucks with dust and noise have an impact on her livelihood and life and the value of her property. So in the motion, whatever we do, we need to specify that the impact they have on it, that they be accountable and responsible for it.
With conditions.
If it is something that you entertain, if you entertain a motion to approve this, you could certainly make it conditional,
With conditions.
you know, based on screening, whether it's an 8 or 10 foot fence.
What's your name? You didn't say your name when you came.
Jordan Shed. Jordan Shed?
Georgia. Well, you understand, she's saying it's a great impact from the dust. If that house, that means you have to pay it every 5 years, you have to pay it every year. You probably have to pressure wash twice a year. That's a detrimental effect
It is.
on the adjacent property owner.
But this change has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, but they're asking us to enhance it. Maybe if he didn't don't get the shed, he might decide to move his equipment something else where he can put it in. But we asking us to allow him the shed where he can have 20, 30, 40 more years of operation at the same site.
But what if, I actually think that, and Ms. Frazier said she doesn't have a problem with the shed. Her problem is with the movement of trucks
And the noise and the dust.
and the noise and the dust.
That's what I'm speaking to.
But what if we make it contingent upon the business working with the property owners on that road and developing a solution that they are agreeable with, the two of them? Can we do, you said we could do that, right?
Well, here's what I'm saying, let's be realistic. They could put a 12-foot fence.
Oh, I don't think a fence is going to do it either.
That dust will still impact
Right,
where they live at.
right.
He first said 7, and then he went back and said that the truck drivers get in there early at 7 because they have to get on job site. So they get in there at 5 o'clock.
Right.
That's an impact on families living there. They got residential on it, and adjacent, his property is community commercial.
So is hers. All of that property is community commercial.
Right.
There are no
But
residents.
all of the
They're all,
legal nonconformance. And the whole intent of legal nonconformance is at some point they come non-existent.
And by us allowing the shed, gives them a place.
Long-term indemnity.
Yeah, a
If
place-
he move out, something else can go in there.
Let's go forward.
Only thing will stop it, if they stop existing for a year, they have to reapply.
Yeah, and nothing else a different use cannot establish in there. If they left tomorrow, it has to be the same type of use. It can't be just anything in that column. It has to be the same type of use. If they wanted to change that, they have to come to you to change it because it's a non-conforming use.
My concern, Mr. Commissioner, number one, they're not using the exit and enter road they're supposed to be using. And I think if he would go in there and maybe reroute I don't believe that's the same road they're supposed to be using. One of 462.
No, the 462 road did not exist, I don't know exactly when that road got built.
see here in 2016, that road wasn't really paved, or maybe there appears to be like a trail, but it's not. Really, this is 2016. So this aerial probably was taken in 2015. May take a while to download and get them put on here. And then this one's from 2024, so you can see the difference. And this, if you remember when Cleveland opened this up way back, they had a sign out here that says Cleveland Construction. I would assume it might say Arbor Nature now. I don't know. I didn't even look when I was out there. So.
Yeah, you know, that's my concern. That probably could solve your problem if you go in and maybe use a road to reroute the noise and the dust from where.
They don't own the property. They can't just drive on somebody's property.
I think, I don't know.
Well,
why
when
we
they came
use-
before us, they had to own something, because this
We
is
own
not the
the-
road they told us they were gonna use on 462, so what were y'all supposed to use?
We own the road that, this lady lives on, but the other road we don't own, so we can't, if somebody says to us one day, you can't use it, then we can't facilitate our business.
But you
Oh,
guys have used it, right?
We have used it before, we don't use it as much, and I would assume that's because, I don't know why we use, I know we use that one less because it rains, I don't know if somebody asked us to not use that one and use the other one, but whenever I'm there, I would say 85% of the trucks use that one, and I would see normally the Cleveland guys are coming in on that road.
That road being the one that's the shorter, not Chance
Yes,
Road?
ma'am. The one that doesn't have the issue of the dust going into, her property.
Okay,
That's the
so-
road that Cleveland normally uses.
Question, what you willing to offer to the resident there that doesn't have such a major impact on them?
I don't know what the correct solution would be, if it means planting trees or putting up a fence, repaving the road. I don't know if that would fix it. I don't know what the correct solution would be, but we're open to working towards a solution. I personally don't know what the solution would be.
But the shorter road is open to your trucks. I mean, clearly, if you use it sometimes, I mean, that would be, in my opinion, the best solution.
Right.
To reroute the traffic so that it's coming off of 462 rather than off of Strobart Road, Strobart Road. But I don't know if, I don't know if that's a possibility.
Yeah, that's my idea. I
personally
don't know.
don't see anything. I personally, because all he's doing is putting sides, basically. He's already got some, don't you have some kind of shed there already?
Yes, Cleveland had a shed there before us.
Yeah, so he's just putting sides on it. I don't see it as an enhancement. I really don't.
He's just putting sides on, or he's
Well,
building-
this is gonna be, it's gonna be a bigger building, right?
Yes, so the original shed is here, and the other one is gonna be just kind of
Yeah.
across the way.
But I mean, it's
Gonna be used.
basically what he's got now. He's just putting sides on it. It's not gonna be the same shed. He's gonna be putting it next to it.
No, I understand, but I think that the issue here with nonconformity and the fact that with a nonconforming use, we're looking at it to eventually go away, and by allowing him to house this equipment that would otherwise be damaged or sun, whatever, by it being outside, that we are actually enhancing.
Well,
And that this business would not eventually go away, but this gives it more life.
well, I suppose, that you can make that argument. On the other hand, he employs 50 people there, and he pays taxes. So, I mean, is it really going to force this business out, not to be able to build this building there? No. I really doubt it. I
But
mean,
that's not the point.
well, it
Let
pretty
me
much
listen,
is one.
listen to me carefully.
Okay.
Anything that we allow,
Mhm.
if it have a detrimental effect on the neighbor, they should be responsible for that.
I agree.
She said she don't disagree with them putting the building there.
Mhm.
But she said the big problem is the noise and the dust that is decreasing the value of her property.
Right,
Earlier, they said 7 to 5, but then he turned around and said, no, my truckers get in there early, they have job site.
Right.
So that means 5 o'clock in the morning, when you ain't ready to get up, you have all those bamming and lambing
Right.
5 o'clock in the morning.
right,
That's an effect on the neighbor.
right.
Now, I can go in details, I know in another county what they had to do. Where this was done, they had to pay the neighbors the value of their property.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, if I was gonna put it right by your house, how would you feel about it?
Well, that's so
And
true.
devaluing your property.
The planning commission should never have allowed it. I don't disagree with that. That's a problem out in Levy that I'm standing on my head about. They've done the same thing out there, and it's gonna be worse than this by a million. But I don't disagree with you, but that's not what we're asked to do here.
We asked to improve and enhance, put a bigger building in there where the longevity, another 30, 40 years. I won't be around to see it, but it'll be there. Any further questions?
I was just hope that before he leave here tonight, he would just tell us what he could do to solve this problem. And I don't have no problem with the shed, but I do think there's a solution in there to solve this problem. If you would just,
I would like to work with the.
yeah, just I meant you'll have to let us know. You just can't tell her. You'll have to let us know what you plan.
I'm not the owner or the general manager, so I can't sign off on anything.
Yeah.
Or, I don't have access to the
Right.
checkbook, so
Yeah.
I could tell you something, but I don't want to say something that's not true. Or,
I
so
have no
know
problem
that
with
they're-
it. I have no problem with the shed.
I
That's
know that
not
they
my
would like to
problem.
work with them,
Yeah.
because we don't want them to be upset that we're working there.
Yeah.
So if it means using the other road more, or whatever it means, we'll.
Yeah, I have no problem with your shed. I just have a problem with citizen
Yeah.
concern. And you know, you wouldn't want be no trucks breaking you up 5, 6 o'clock. in
Yeah,
the
no, I
morning.
understand.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have no problem with the shed. It's
No,
just that
any further questions?
Lisa's.
Well, I would just say, if you do approve it, I think you approve it with conditions, whether the condition outlines what he is to do, or whether the condition is you need to address the problem with the neighbor, however they see fit. If you don't approve it, I think it does continue to go on, and there is no resolution for the neighbor. I think that it would be nice if y'all were able to look at using that road. I understand you don't own it, but it would be nice if you
Yeah.
could see if, especially the trucks, could go out that way.
Before the operating hours, those that come in early
Right.
use that road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If I
that's
call the owner to ask him if
that's
there's any issue with us using that road, because I personally don't know the answer.
Well, personally, what I would like to see is us, I don't know if we can table these kinds of things and give you an opportunity to get with the decision makers in your company and get with Ms. Frazier and any other property owners down there to see if there is something that can be worked out
the use.
before we actually vote on it, because this is important. When you're messing with somebody where they live and it interferes with the quality of their life, for me, it's very important. I don't see personally, speaking for myself, I don't see the shed as a big deal. I'm kind of like Ms. Frazier with that. I think it might actually enhance the thing, and I know that we're not supposed to do that, but having your equipment put away would be good for everybody. But I don't want to vote on this until we can see if something can be worked out. I do think using that other road, getting that traffic away from homes would be the best solution. But, you know, that's not for me to decide. But
Yeah.
that's what I would like to see happen, but I'm just
That's
one
reasonable.
person.
Yeah, that's reasonable, 'cause that's what I said 15
You wanna
minutes
make
ago.
that
Yeah.
A
that's-
motion, make it a business?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to offer a motion that, let me see what I need to say here. Is that called tabling or postpone or?
I think you just table it till next month and give them an opportunity to see if they can work things out.
Right.
And
Okay.
maybe we'll have a solution by next month.
Okay.
This suits everyone.
Yeah, that, that was my position 30 minutes ago. Yeah.
Okay, I recommend that we table the request to allow an equipment shed to be built at 436 Chancellor Road on tax map number 083-00-03-045, pending further discussion between the residential property owners and the business owner to determine what can be accomplished toward reducing the noise and dust level on that road, including the possibility of moving their primary entrance to the road that currently exists between 083-00-03-050. Well, actually, it's all on that property. It's all on that property. Who owns that I'm sorry, I'm getting in the middle of my motion. Stevens and Associate, the road that runs between those two roads. Does that make any sense?
It does.
Okay.
Commissioner Jenkins, second.
A motion has been made by Dr. Buckler to table the extension of the Chancellor Road project, and second by Mr. Jenkins. Ready for questions? All in favor of such motion, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed by the same sign. B, zoning map amendment, residential tax map number 029-00-02-100.
So the applicant requests a zoning map amendment to have a property designated as residential. The subject property consists of a total of 1.08 acres. It's identified by map number 029-00-02-100, located at 1607 Deerfield Road in Hardyville. The property is currently zoned rural preservation. The applicant intends to place a mobile home on the property. The side yard setbacks are 25 feet in the rural preservation zoning district, whereas in the residential zoning district, the requirement is a 10-foot side yard setback. This would allow for the front door of the mobile home to face Deerfield Road, meeting the requirements. That's also a requirement of the zoning ordinance, that the front door should face the road. Of course, if you're on a lot that is of record and you can't meet that, you can turn it sideways. So according to the 2018 Jasper County Comprehensive Plan, the future land use map identifies this area as urban transition. The urban transition areas are pockets of unincorporated Jasper County that are partially or entirely surrounded by either the city of Hardyville or the town of Ridgeland. For areas that experience new development or redevelopment within the urban transition zones, consideration should be given to working with the adjacent municipality for annexation. The adjacent parcels are zoned rural preservation and residential with the municipal limits of Hardyville adjacent to the property's southern boundary. And the adjacent land uses are residential and vacant property with an automotive towing business located across the road. The property is accessed by Deerfield Road, which is a 2-lane state-maintained highway classified as a major arterial. The property is an existing lot intended for a single-family residence. It's not intended as any other type of development. And as such, staff recommends approval of the request to have the property designated as residential.
Ms. Wagner, was this property subdivided off some rural preservation? Was the size of 1.8 acres normally is not rural preservation?
Yes, yeah, let's see, I think it's I'm gonna try to pull this property up. That's, so, let's see. Oh, this thing will move with me.
It is right there.
It's this property right here, and so these, so you're right, I never could figure out exactly what it came out of. So it could have, but at some point, it did come out of another property. This here, it may have been this one, like this. So these used to be a property. They don't total 25 acres. This property to the south, right there, that's been annexed into Hardyville. And so that is from what I could tell, a residential development going up. There's a sign out there that tells you, I don't know. So, you know, when we underwent this zoning project that we're doing in U-Haul, we didn't think there were, so at first we said everybody that's zoned rural preservation will rezone them to RP10. We didn't realize, we thought, you know, there are probably a good several handfuls of those properties. But as just in that one area, you know, we found 300 properties that were under 10 acres that are zoned rural preservation. So I guess from 2007, as we've approved plats and all that have been cut out of larger tracts of land, we now have hundreds. We have just 300 just in the U-Haul area. So my point is, this one 1.8, this is 1. I think this might have been a total of a 5-acre tract, but it came out of a larger property, and most likely it would be this one at some point over time.
I remember one time staff, the DSR, looked at properties of this sort and recommend that these properties be zoned properly. So that means without any long discussion, this property automatically should be residential and not rural preservation.
It should. And Mr. Pinckney, you're right about us. We used to do that, but time really doesn't allow us anymore. We're just so busy, you know. But we did. You're right. We would find areas that weren't zoned right and bring them to you.
Commissioners, you understand what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm. So, can I ask you a question? So, I mean, this all should be rezoned residential, all three pieces, because it's less than, what is it, 25?
Yeah, I mean,
So
if
for
you're
rural preservation, it meet none of the guidelines that you have to fall under rural preservation.
Right.
And you're right. This gentleman, he's just trying to get a mobile home permit, and he either has to turn it sideways with the butt end sticking to the road, or if we were to rezone it, it's got to be placed just right. But we've measured, he's got just enough room to meet the 10 feet setbacks and put in a 60-foot mobile home.
So can he put 2 mobile homes in there?
No,
No, just one?
just one.
So how do we go about changing all 3 pieces of property?
I think you could recommend it because, you know, I
That would
didn't even
make
think of
sense.
it when I was writing this report, but this one here will probably be the next one. What we do. Because we've heard from them, they haven't really submitted anything, so they haven't filed an application, but I'm sure they're gonna be in the same boat, you know?
Let's get a refund.
One of the you know, this is a dilemma that was mentioned last meeting, is that this is adjoining the city of Hardyville. And it's in our comprehensive plan, right, that we will suggest that they be annexed into the, you know, people have differing ideas on that, but that is what's in the plan, right?
You're right, and if they were proposing a subdivision or anything of any type of intensity, we would recommend that. In this case, a person who's placing just a mobile home or a single-family stick-built house, all they're gonna get from that's another tax bill. They're not getting any benefits.
Right. I agree with
Well,
that.
they would get services, you know, as far as from the city of Hardyville. Police, EMS comes from the
The
county.
rec center.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, I think if they were using it in a more intensive way or wanting to come in with a subdivision, we would certainly recommend they annex in Hardyville. But for a single family residential, it doesn't make sense.
But we could make a recommendation at this time to change all three of those properties.
You could.
I'm ready to entertain a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I move that we recommend rezoning of properties 029-00-02-100, property 029-00-02-099, and property 029-00-02-095 from rural preservation to residential, based primarily on the current application from the owner of 029-00-02-100, and the fact that these properties do not meet the minimum property size for rural preservation.
Have you heard the motion? I hear a second.
That would allow them to turn the mobile home in the correct facing orientation, correct? Okay. A second.
A motion was made by Dr. Copeland that the 3 lots be zoned residential due to the lot size. A motion was seconded by Mr. Lee. Ready for question?
Question. Lisa, they've paid $300 for something else, right? Hadn't they paid?
For the rezoning application.
So can you change it without letting them know? Because it
Yeah.
seems like there's a dilemma here for us.
Well, so the one in the NEM 100, he made application to you to consider, so you did. And I think it was a good call on Miss Dr. Butler's part. I didn't think about it, but you know, along with that, you can submit a recommendation to Jasper County Council to, while you're rezoning 100, rezone 099 and 095. You know, anybody can make the petition to rezone. It could be a landowner. It can be the planning commission. It can be staff, and you know, sometimes staff does as well. So that's fine.
He gets his $300 back since this is not what he's paying for.
I didn't realize you were saying give him back his $300. I mean, you know,
Well, I have another question.
I don't know what to say about that part, but we can think about it.
Yeah, but I'm always looking forward, so when these things come back before us, these things won't haunt us. So we can, that was just,
So out of that money, we usually do pay for the sign to be posted, the notice to be advertised in the newspaper, and to do mailings. I know in this case it's not fair. He pays and these two don't, but I think also if staff were to have brought it to you, nobody would be paying,
Okay.
you know, so.
But that's the thing, even though we're making that recommendation, what if they want to stay?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, am I not talking loud?
he was talking to us.
I'm saying that, even though we're making that recommendation, that they all be changed to residential, maybe what if they don't want it?
Well, they can't meet no kind of qualification because under rules of
Yeah.
preservation, the setbacks and all the things doesn't fall under an acre of land.
I think the
minimum-
one,
The minimum is 25 acres for rules of preservation because according to the rules, only two houses on the 25 acres on the roof of what they call RP10. And that's the thing with it, like the overlay district, we've been trying to get them to change it from 10 acres to 5.
5 acres.
So the guidelines don't line up. Like I said, in the offset, the DSR took some time one time and went back and looked, and when they find lots like this, they would bring it to the access to automatically change it to the correct zoning designation.
So the resident doesn't have a choice.
Well, I mean, the land is useless to them under rule preservation.
I see.
Okay.
yeah, Ms. Ferguson, I feel sure the one in 099, he has already been in touch with our office, even though they've not submitted yet. I know they're wanting to do a mobile home. So they're going to be in the same boat and need to come before you if we don't change it.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure that, yeah.
In
Okay.
good faith to our citizen, if the one that applied, if to be able to reimburse that, it would be a great thing to show
Well-
that we working with our
Yeah.
citizens.
And since it should have been that way in the first place.
First place, yeah. Thank you.
We'll look at that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Previous question? No further question? We ready to vote?
Yes.
All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed by the same sign, and approved. The next thing on the agenda is road name change. Inhabitant. Isham,
Ibrahim or something. What's their name, Lisa? Ibrahim?
Isham.
Huh?
Abraham.
Ibrahim? Ibrahim?
Yep, that's right. I had to look it up.
What's that, what that means?
Abraham.
Oh, good.
The applicant's requesting that a private driveway, they're requesting that a private driveway or access road be named Abraham, however you pronounce it, road. The subject road is a private driveway accessing a developed lot located approximately 200 feet from Honeysucker Road. In this case, the private driveway access road is not required to be named in accordance with the Jasper County road naming ordinance. However, the applicant is requesting to have the driveway named. Emergency Services and the Jasper County GIS coordinator has determined that the road name is not in conflict with any other road name, and it would help facilitate emergency services meeting the intent of the ordinance. In accordance with the Jasper County Code of Ordinances, Section 25-126, new road name, no new private road names shall be recognized by the county or added to the county's list of road names without approval of the Planning Commission upon recommendation of the Address Program Administrator. New subdivision roads, whether public or private, shall be named when created through the land development process, which shall include the submission of road names to the Address Program Administrator, who shall make recommendation of the road names to the Planning Commission for approval. The name of any road shall not duplicate or be confusingly similar to any other road name already existing in Jasper County. All proposed street names shall be submitted to the Jasper County Emergency Services Department and the DSR for recommendation to the Planning Commission for approval. The names of private roads, including mobile home roads, which require naming to facilitate postal delivery and emergency response, shall be recognized by the county at the request of the citizens who own property adjacent to the road. Such road must serve 3 household 3 households. The name of the private road shall be commonly known to the community. In the event that there are 2 or more recommendations of name, the planning commission shall determine the name given recognition to the name preferred by at least 51% of the property owners on the road. However, this shall not constitute acceptance or dedication of the road by the county for maintenance and other purposes. In this case, the road serves one property with 2 structures, each having their own address. Their own addresses, 360 and 362 Honeysuckle Road. The property's been developed for several years. Emergency Services has determined that naming the driveway access road will help facilitate public safety and emergency response services since the property does not have direct access along Honeysuckle Road. Emergency Services and Jasper County GIS Department has reviewed the application for phonetic conflict and duplication of other road names. No conflicts were found. The proposed road name meets the intent of the Jasper County Code of Ordinances. This is the property highlighted here. And see that this road comes off of Honeysuckle Road and into this property. This is the property. You know, I did, come to think about this, I did look at, there were pictures on here from the, no, I'm sorry, that was another property. Then after they've done assessed, usually the assessor's office will load up pictures and I'll just have a look at that. But I think what you got is a big shed here and a house here.
There's a structure, another structure by the property line, it looks like. Looks like there are 3 structures. See that driveway?
This is a driveway, but I think this is a rooftop here, but this is certainly a driveway here.
You see that structure as you come in?
Top right.
Up top right here.
No,
Right.
over, right there.
I couldn't tell what
Is
that
that
was.
dog kennels or something?
You know, I thought
It looks
that-
like dog kennels, like it's partitioned in spots. Maybe?
I don't know.
So are there 3 structures on this road?
Well, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a driveway, not a driveway. I don't know, it looks the same width as this, whatever that's
No.
going to. Is that a driveway? That's about the same width.
There is. It's a driveway to the house or a walkway. That's a driveway.
Yeah, it's too far.
There's a green roof too.
Hmm?
In the shadows on the bottom, there's a green roof in the woods.
Oh, yeah, there are 4 structures out there of some kind.
What is it? I'm sorry.
There's another structure in the trees.
In the shadows of the trees, you
Yeah.
can see a green roof there as
It
well.
looks like it might be a mobile home.
No, let's see if we put.
Oh, and there's
addresses
something
where
over
the
here
ad-
too.
That was
Okay,
a
so
shipping
that's where the
container.
addresses are. They're at 360 and 362. So these are the
a
structures that
road.
are addressed, just these 2 down here.
So that's only 2.
There's all kinds of stuff in there.
We know that one of the houses we permitted a couple, recently, you know, not that, one of the houses was more recent. Other than that, the other one's probably been there for a long time, so.
This doesn't really
Is
show.
this some type of social club or something?
Mm-mm.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
Well, if it is, they're not admitting it.
Well, you know, I noticed the map goes to somebody bluffing, not.
And just
That's
to
right.
zoom out.
His
so
office is there
let's
for that
explain
construction
all.
company. It's in the name of the construction company, and his office is in.
Lennox, yeah. So this here's kind of where it's located. Honeysuckle Road is off of Freedom Parkway. And this here over here is Levy Road, Freedom Parkway. So just to kind of give you an idea of honeysuckers. You're across from Berkeley Hall.
Where is it now? I'm sorry, I got lost. Okay, that's,
This is Levy. and this
that's
is
Levy Road
Freedom
right there.
Parkway.
Oh, so it's off of Freedom Parkway.
Yeah,
I see.
honeysucker. And it's this piece.
What is that Pritchard Farms, what is that back in there? Where that road ends? Honeysucker?
I looked at that, and I know somebody used to live here. I wish I could remember what their names were.
That's not, I was wondering if that's not one of the mining operations, is it?
Is it vacant, Lisa?
Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thought it had to be 3 houses on there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it says in the application it's only 2.
Mm-hmm.
But,
So I did.
the,
pull
emergency
this,
service say
just
it
to
would enhance the
see-
safety of those being able to find it.
Wow.
So,
This is what's
Mr.
on
Lee,
that
any
other
questions on this?
No,
I
sir.
do have, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Lisa, I'm concerned about these two properties having a Honeysucker Road address, and that, I guess that's their 911. If we change this road, then these two addresses need to be changed too, and is that automatically taken care of, or?
It will, because on the GIS department, they're now also doing the 911 address, and I'll send, if this is approved, I send it back to them. They'll have to get the road name changed in the GIS, and they'll have to reassign addresses off of that.
Okay. The other thing has to do, this is an easement where that road is. We won't have any responsibility,
That's
even though
right.
there may be several homes back here for
No,
that road.
we won't have any responsibility there.
Okay. It doesn't show it as an easement on any of this, but
No, but it is listed, even on the,
it's on this.
and on this petition.
Oh, okay.
That
shown
it's a
on the-
private maintained road.
Okay. That's it, sir. Thank you.
None, Mr. Chairman.
I'm ready to entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a motion that we grant the applicant a road name petition, Abram or Abraham Road, whatever it is.
Second that motion.
A motion has been made by Mr. Jenkins that we approve the road name change, new name of the road.
Yeah.
Second by Dr. Butler. Ready for questions? Hearing none, all in favor of such motion, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by the same sign? The motion is carried. The last thing on our agenda is open discussion. Anyone have anything that we need to take up real quickly before we adjourn?
Could I just, one thing?
Yes, go ahead.
Could you show us that area that I talked to you about earlier today, down in Levy, at the end of, the other end of Levy Road,
Sure.
please?
I don't know why this monitor keeps doing this, but it'll straighten out in just a minute, okay?
I was out,
So this is the Levy Road here.
can we look at the zoning for that?
Sure can. This is the zoning.
This is not gonna be a part of the Levy overlay district.
It's not to say it won't, it possibly could be. I think just before when we talked about the special area plan for Levy. We were more or less referring to Levy Road and Highway 315. That's really in the past where we've seen development and had requests. You know, last month we had the rezoning that I didn't recommend because we had the special area plan, but not to say this couldn't be included. You know, following up from our conversation, I think it would be perfectly okay for, if y'all feel like this should be included, maybe we could look at both ends of.
Well, there are two things. First of all, I don't think if you look at that Levy Road, there are a lot of people that live on that. It's residential, but yet when you look at this map, it's community commercial. You know, you get it, when I looked at that, it's kind of more understandable how somebody not familiar with the area would assume that that's a great place to put 50, 100 foot, whatever those big warehouses are. Because this place is zoned community commercial, and really, there are a lot of residents on, I mean, I don't know of any, other than Cleveland, well, now there's those huge containers, but I just feel like somehow, I don't know how all that came to be. I talked to a couple of residents. They had no idea their property was zoned community commercial. And I hope that when Levy is looked at, that they will take a look at both ends of that road and determine how to best go about protecting the people who've lived out there for generations in their properties, and not let them be overrun any more than they have to be by this commercial development that's coming in.
Yeah, well, let me share a little light on that.
Okay.
I only was in a couple of the workshops, but I don't know, was the federal government gave that money for that study down there from Hardyville back to the Talbot Bridge, that the impact from the shipyard? They had a special committee appointed, and they had several workshops in the area so they can get feedback from the people that live there and having to realize, you know, what impact it would have in that area. I know I was in one of them, and they had the spinoff from the shipyard. It's not there yet, but you know, everybody was pushing hard for that to come because they said it would have such a financial impact on the county. So some of the folks knows that, you know, it's going to be a lot of commercial stuff coming in that area, you know, and the meeting I was in, most of them agreed. They was waiting for somebody to make them an offer that they were going to get out of there.
Well,
so I mean, that's why you see a lot of the things happen, because, and I think that was a part of what delayed that shipyard coming in. You put the shipyard in and you don't have the spin-off places to accommodate it, it would be a real problem. Because when them ships come in, it's a lot of freight on them, and you have to have shops to accommodate those big trucks to keep them going. And it's just it's a lot of stuff. And they didn't want to have that great impact on that community without the noise. I think it was like, what, $1.5 million they spent to do the studies on that.
I don't know about that. When was that done?
It was just before the pandemic.
I didn't. Did you know about it? We're on the planning commission. We didn't know about it.
I mean, it was mentioned in our meeting. And they had a special committee to.
Are you talking about the exit 3 or?
Well, the extra 3 from the Talbot Bridge all the way up into Hardyville, the impact from the what that committee is called, the port committee was called.
Oh, gosh.
I don't think, it was just, he was on the commission when that happened, I don't
I
believe.
don't think I was.
No, he was not.
He said just before the pandemic. I probably
We
wasn't.
He
on the
wasn't.
commission either.
He wasn't.
Mhm.
Y'all two was.
No.
Y'all three weren't.
But anyway, I didn't know about it. I'm thinking that, some of the people that live along Levy Road might not know about it either. But anyway,
I mean, they had several meetings down there, several meetings.
Well, I hope that as we move forward with the plan for Levy, that we can also include all of Levy Road, not just down at 315. That it can be more comprehensive than that. And I don't know how much say we have in that, but,
Well,
because there are a lot of family homes in that area.
I mean, a part of that, all they talk about is the wide, 17 going to the south, and the other, what's it called, old 17?
Oh, yeah, now it's 170 all the way to Savannah,
Yeah,
Port Wentworth.
all that was discussing,
Used to be 17.
Are you talking about this Jasper Ocean Terminal and
Yeah.
those meetings, and there was a committee for that? Yeah.
Did they have a report?
They have had several things, and you could actually, there was a website, I would imagine it's still, I think if you put in Jasper Ocean Terminal, you could go to a website
Okay.
where the consultants were keeping back then the work up to date. Of course, there's not been much
But I did.
traction or progress made there,
But I did want to just have it, discussed at some point that we would include, when we look at the Levy area, that it
Sure.
would include that area too. That's it. Thank you.
one last thing. 5 meetings, the quorum is at a minimum of 4, 5.
What's that? I'm sorry.
A quorum for the planning commission.
I
For
think it's
planning
fine.
commission, there's 7, so you gotta have at least 4.
Okay. It would be nice if we can't make it to the meeting, just let us back a little early, so we can make sure we have a quorum. Because I was worried, I was in Columbia. I know I spoke to you the other day, I know you said you wasn't gonna be here Thursday, and I didn't know whether you was gonna be here tonight.
No,
So
I
I-
called and let them know I wouldn't be here. Last,
Yes.
So I said, I better beat it back, because we have people coming in, and we don't have a quorum.
Now, that's a good question. So if the chairman and the vice chairman is not here, who's next in line?
That's a good question.
That's something we really need to know.
I
Because
think
just in case if he weren't here tonight, now the chairman or the vice chairman would have been here.
Well, I mean, they can appoint someone from the floor to preside.
Okay.
yeah, I was gonna say, that's what I think you do if both the chairman and
Yeah,
the
we
vice,
just really
you
need to
vote
know
on
just in
who's
case.
gonna
Yeah, we
lead the
really need to
meeting.
know just in case if that happens.
Because we still have a quorum.
Yeah, if you got 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if the people who's in position is not here, who take it?
I would just like to remind y'all about the public hearing that's gonna be at the Port Royal Sound Foundation
On the
next
19th?
Thursday, September 19th.
At 5.
It's just a public hearing only before the county council. You don't necessarily have to come, but I wanted just to remind you, in case you're just interested in seeing what people have to say, We're trying to encourage everybody who wants to comment to please show up
What time
at the
is
public
it?
hearing.
5
It's at
o'clock.
5 o'clock. There's no action gonna be taken. It's about the zoning at the U-Haul Broad River planning area.
So when's this?
September the 19th
September
at 5
19th,
o'clock.
next week Thursday at 5 o'clock.
Where?
At the Port Royal Sound Foundation in the Wheezy Pavilion. We picked that area because, the maximum occupancy here's 100 people, and you have to minus your staff and your board members out of that. And we really thought we were gonna probably get a lot more than 100 people, but unfortunately that didn't happen for our open house meeting. I think it was successful, but it wasn't even 100 people there.
when was that? That was the last one that was held?
That was August
The
22nd,
Yeah, that's the one I
yes.
was at, yeah.
Well, the meeting that was held, the one I couldn't attend because I was in Columbia, what was that? That was, I watched it on.
The workshop with council
Mhm.
last week.
Yeah, that was a workshop for the council.
Yeah.
It was very, they're just wasn't anything new there that I, unless I missed it, but I watched the whole thing.
No, but I think council wanted to kind of understand it a little better and know about the family estates and mainly the rural small lot subdivision.
Okay, so it was a workshop.
I've got a question. Something that was brought to my attention on the Facebook Jasper County question page, and there was a piece of property down towards the Glover Road, Strobart, where we were just looking. That was at one time it was for sale. I believe it was about 60 acres that was for sale, and moratorium was in effect. They had it still listed as a whole property, but now I see that Alberto Pardon or Padron is subdividing, and the lots are 5 acre with 1 acre cleared. Septic tanks are already installed, and he's selling those lots for $180,000 a piece. And I just didn't know if there was anything that was, if he's not conforming to anything that we may have voted on, or something that the moratorium is not opened up yet.
No, so I think what you're talking about is not there, it's in Grays.
It says, it's in original is what it's saying. I know this Alberto
Padron.
So
We did, and you'll be seeing that soon for a road name, but it was some property owned by Marlon Sheffield in the Grays area. Alberto, I believe, is selling it. But they came in and got a 22 lot exempt subdivision through the state law, the 5 acres and greater. That is in Grays, and it's a road that is between 2 state roads. Of course, I hate those kind of subdivisions, and there's nothing I can do about it if it comes through the state law. Of course, we do make them do a road name, a road maintenance agreement, and to get there, and also they have to provide septic permits prior to. We can require those things for that exempt subdivision, and we send a fire marshal out to inspect the road. So all that's been done, and he is involved in that, and that was just recently, very recently done. Matter of fact, again, a road name will be coming to y'all. It's a Rabbit Run is the proposed road name, and I think they're calling this Bunny Subdivision. So that's kind of what I'm thinking you're reading is that one.
Right, okay, that's why I was just curious. I had some people in the community that were asking me about it, so I was like making sure that was actually it.
And we don't see any of that, do we?
You do a major subdivision. The exempt doesn't come to y'all, and the minor doesn't. The minor's no more than 4 lots with nothing left over, so the whole parent parcel can be no more than 4 lots. The exempt subdivision, it can be just something as little as you and your neighbor just might want to change your boundary lines, you know, reconfigure them, a trade or swap deal, something like that, or a boundary survey. Or state law has this 5 acres where there's not a need for a new road because there's a sufficient road, and everyone's 5 acres and greater. And I keep asking, isn't there something we can do? And so far I'm told, well, no, the state law allows it, but I'm still checking on that, especially while we're doing this zoning stuff. I think it'd be great. It's because to me, when you have 22 lots, that's a major subdivision in my eyes, you know, or should be anyway.
No further discussion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We stand adjourned.